Hi, Leah Rose.
Hey, Kelsey. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our conversation today. But before we get into that, I'm just going to invite you and everyone who's listening today to do some orientating with me, which is a somatic experiencing exercise to come into the present moment. So unless you're driving, of course, or doing some activity where you need your eyes. But what we're going to do is just allow our eyes to wander around the space that we're in. For those of you who have listened to the podcast a lot now, you can just go ahead and do this practice and not worry about what I'm saying for the next minute or so. But for the rest of us, just letting your eyes wander and getting curious about what your eyes want to look at. So not necessarily it being you guiding your eyes, but let your eyes guide you. And as your eyes are being curious about the space around you, just notice what happens to your body and your breath. And as your eyes are wandering, there might be something that your eyes are really curious about or attracted to. And just take a moment and let your eyes land there. And just notice as you let your eyes land on that thing, notice what happens with your body as you really take it in. What is it? What's the quality that this object or thing has that creates a sort of sensation in you or makes you think about other things or helps the breath to open and relax? And then from there, we'll just close our eyes and really take that in and just start to take some nice deep breaths. Allow your breath to be a connection that helps you become deeper connected to yourself. Allow it to help you become more and more present with this moment, your body. And if you feel like you want to do some cleansing breaths, you can exhale through the mouth. If you feel like you need to reserve your energy, you can keep the breath moving in and out of the nose. Yeah, take a few more really good deep breaths. Feel your feet on the earth, feel your seat on your chair, feel the sky up above. And as you breathe, notice how you are that bridge between heaven and earth. And slowly allow the eyes to open. Good. Here we go. So, yay, I'm really excited to talk with you today. Just because for those of you who don't know, the Worldwide Women's Circle is a movement we're going to talk about, but I've been a cheerleader and supporter and involved in any way I can since it was launched a couple years ago. And so as a leader in the Worldwide Women's Circle, we have Circle. Leah Rose leads us through Circle. And the other day we had a really powerful Circle. And that's one of the reasons why I got inspired to talk with Leah Rose, specifically around the topic we talked about, which is sisterhood and the wounding that can happen between sisters. So I'm just really excited to have Leah Rose on today because she's experienced a lot of this and done a lot of work with this in her own life. And it was a really powerful circle for me. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about maybe you can, just let us know why this is something you're so passionate about and why you feel like it's a necessary thing for us to be looking at as the feminine is starting to rise.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, well, first of all, my name's Leah Rose Farber. I'm the founder of the Worldwide Women's Circle. And the Worldwide Women's Circle is a platform that brings women leaders together in women's circles all around the world on the same day. And, this movement started because I'd been doing women's circles for a long time. I did my first women's circle in 2009. And recently, previous to that, actually where I met you, Kelsey, I was doing a retreat called The Awakening, and I was looking through an old journal entry, and in something that I wrote, I said, I really don't trust any of these women that are here.
Yeah.
And there was something about the nature of women that just scared the crap out of me. Like I was going to get hurt, or I was going to be betrayed. And, I really don't think that, yes, this is part of our social stigma. This is part of socially what we're conditioned to do as women, is to be competitive towards each other, to compare ourselves to each other from a very young age. So I was part of that, but I think it goes a lot deeper. I think there's genetically, there's a separation wound, like way back, and we can talk about that later, but bringing it back to why I do it, there's this rising of the feminine that's happening, and more women are coming together, and more women are hearing the call. They're feeling it within themselves, and they're doing their work, and they're becoming powerful. And then what happens when powerful women all come together and they haven't healed this piece of this competition or this judgment? That if we don't look at this, good luck rising the feminine.
Right.
This is something that's really important right now, as we all rise to the occasion of, whatever it is our heart's desire is, like whatever our form of leadership is. For us, it's circle leadership. It's the way that we bring women together, and it exists to like show you what shows up in your leadership, like what shows up in your clearing. So yeah, we use the tool of women's circles. Women's circles have been going on for thousands of years. They were used in indigenous tribes. They called that the Moon Lodge, or the Kiva healing. And women were oracles for each other. Women were sisterhood. Women were sisters. Women were there for each other. And somewhere along the way, that got lost. So now it's like, how can we be better than each other? How can we, I want her boyfriend. I mean, there's so many ways that these wounds show up. So Worldwide Women's Circle exists to, empower women leaders and break down the social stigma that exists between women, so that we can all rise to the occasion. Yeah,
great. And it really speaks to, sorry, I'm hearing an echo, so hopefully it's not being recorded as an echo, but we'll just go with it. It really speaks to that whole community piece, where when you are trying to heal any sort of past trauma or experience, when you don't have that support around you, it can be really, really a lot harder. And women have always supported each other for centuries back. And that healing that wound, I think what you said is right, is like, good luck if we're all going to come together, if without looking at this. And I know for me, some of the greatest traumas and hard experiences in my life were to do with women. Yes, the masculines, and like being a woman and trying to be in relationship with, the masculine or a man has its challenges. But I honestly can say that when I betrayed a sister betrayed me, those cut me so, so deep, you know. And you spoke a little bit about this getting complete with, like having completion with those things. And could you speak a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I think right now completing is a very powerful initiation for a lot of people. When we're incomplete, we're taking the past, and we take that past with us into our present and into our future. I mean, it's really nasty stuff, the way that the past can infiltrate into where we're going. So say, you know, you had a falling out with a sister, or for whatever reason, maybe it was she backstabbed you, or the other way around, you backstabbed her. It really goes both ways. And trust me, I'm not sitting here like I'm all high and mighty. No, I've done it all. So when those relationships are incomplete, there's that incompletion follows us. And, you know, the work that we did in Circle the other day was really powerful because it was around just, I declare that this is complete. There's not a lot of processing around it. There may be a couple phone calls that you need to make and some insights that we get, and then we go and clean them up. But this is more about having our past cleaned up, complete. So that, I mean, when you're complete, what's left? Like everything. It's a wide open space in front of us.
Yeah.
So that's part of that completion piece.
Yeah, I felt that was really powerful too, how it doesn't mean that everything's all good. You know, it's just that you show up the best you can to clean up whatever mess is there. And then that's you completing. And whatever the other person does with that is what they do with it. And it doesn't necessarily mean they do anything. They could do nothing, but showing up for yourself and taking responsibility. And, you know, we did some Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian forgiveness ceremony too. And just acknowledging, especially if you've been the one to be the one who portrays or hurts someone, to acknowledge that is so powerful, because I think that then, you know, breaks down those illusions, or, you know, breaks down those barriers that we put up around us, around connecting with other women.
Absolutely. And it keeps us separate from each other. And, you know, that separation is from other women is actually separation from the feminine.
Right. Yeah.
And it just robs us of connection. And, you know, I have this story about this woman and we were best friends. We were partners. We did business together. We were doing retreats together, and we had a falling out. I mean, she was going through a separation, and I wanted her at my birthday party, and she couldn't come to my birthday party, and I totally went off on her, and then she went off on me, and we stopped talking, and we still don't talk to this day. And I felt that I was so right of why I wasn't talking to her anymore, why this wasn't a good relationship for me. But as I really started to look at it, I saw very clearly that what was missing was compassion for what she was going through. I was actually making it all about me. And this woman was going through a divorce. I mean, that's not an easy thing to go through. And I'm worried about her coming to my birthday party. So in order to get complete with her, we don't talk anymore. And that's something that I've accepted. I don't have her phone number, but I have her email address. She's blocked me on Facebook. I have her email address. So I wrote a letter to her. And I said, look, I know we don't talk, but I want to let you know that I am terribly sorry for not, like, I take responsibility for that fight. And I see now that I showed you no compassion. And I can't imagine what it was like for you to be going through a separation. And I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent the email. I didn't hear anything back, but that's complete. We can't expect the other person that person may not be around anymore, but it's worth it to clean up my past so that doesn't continue to come up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And how it comes up, we talked about on the circle too, it comes up in jealousy, it comes up in comparison, it comes up in competing with each other. And I've found that the more I get complete with myself and what I've done with other women, that stuff really starts to fall away, or I become really aware that I'm doing it a lot quicker than I did in the past. And it's hard, like, especially like the comparison and competition thing right now, like watching that within myself and with other women, especially with where, there's a lot more women stepping up to be healers, to be coaches, to be leaders, to be, whatever they're doing to help women or other people. And I mean, I've noticed it in myself for sure. And I still do some days. And, it's really damaging. It's really, really damaging. Do you have any sort of, like, how do you work with it in your own life? I know that you had mentioned that it came up for you pretty big, just with a recent experience. And yeah. And I think the comparison and competition piece is, for me and myself, I know it stems from this place of this old belief I have of not being good enough, so I compare and I go, oh, well, I'm not doing that. Maybe I should be doing that. Or, oh my gosh, I can't believe she did that before me. Or, how did she get to be with such a wonderful person, especially when I'm like in the midst of like an argument with my partner. And so I know that that's where that comes from for me, but I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit more to that as well.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Not good enough. That's definitely my biggest wound. Mm-hmm. I would say, if there's something that I'm like still carrying. And it's interesting too, because this is what I stepped up to do. Like, this is my calling on the planet. About 5 years ago, I got very clear that my work was teaching teachers. Mm-hmm. It's really confronting because there's like mega powerful women out there, and it's really easy to fall into that. Like you were saying, am I good enough? Oh my gosh, they're doing it better than me. Maybe I should do that. Oh, I can't do that. I know for me, it's debilitating when I get into that conversation. It's completely debilitating. I want to go crawl into a hole and never come out. Go work in a bar, or go wait tables, or go do something like totally, for me, would be meaningless. I'm someone who I've always had this desire to make a difference in the world. And so this is my breakthrough, is that in those moments, has nothing to do with me. It's the context that needs to change. So rather than, like, I have the awareness to know that I have this I'm not good enough wound. I can see myself comparing. I can hear my negative self-talk. I am very aware of all of it. The only thing that gets rid of it is when I come back to, what am I here for? What is it? What is it that I'm up to that's bigger than I am? Because the ego always wants to make it about me.
Mm-hmm.
It wants to make it about us. But that keeps me limited. It actually doesn't allow me to be free and self-expressed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and go up to that woman and say, hey, I was totally comparing myself to you. I was totally competing with you right there. And I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, what is it? I exist because I'm here to shift the consciousness of humankind. I can't possibly do that alone. I need my sisters.
Yeah.
And for me, that shift in thinking just, it like puts me in place. It puts me back in place, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So for women who are maybe not as in touch with that thing that's bigger than they are, you know, maybe they're still searching for it, or maybe they don't even realize that they are here for something bigger than they are, and they're just kind of in their stuff, and this is coming out for them. What are some tools or some things that you could offer so that they could sort of start looking or start inquiring, and even just to, you know, get out of this pattern of comparison and competition?
Yeah, totally. Okay. Yeah, well, how do you know that you have the sisterhood wound, the sisterhood wounding? Not every woman has it. Like, I know women that always had great girlfriends and have great relationships with their mother and all of that. They don't have it. But there's certain inquiries that you can be in, questions for yourself. The first one is, what's your relationship like with your mother?
Bam, that's a big one.
Bam. You're like, oh, I don't talk to my mom anymore because she's a bleep, bleep, bleep. You have a sisterhood wound. What's your relationship like to Mother Earth? That's another one you could look. Here's one. Do you have more guy friends than girlfriends? Do you feel like, when you get around women, do you feel uneasy? Do you feel not trustworthy? That is another one that you can look. So those are just a couple. Do you have any, Kelsey?
Do I have any actual?
Yeah. Like what would be a good question?
Right. Well, for me, the big one was, I had to, as my friends gave me this quote, I had to embrace the lace because I was more comfortable being in my masculine than being in my feminine. I was more comfortable downing, like making I never really dressed up. I was kind of a jeans and a t-shirt person, never really wore a lot of makeup. I did when I was a teenager. And then, you know, there's a lot of wounding around there. And I just started to like down my feminine essence a lot, like turn the dial way down. So that could be another. And some of us are more masculine in nature, but I'm speaking more to the fact of like, do I feel comfortable being a woman, you know, or being identified as a female essence, if that is my essence, you know, whether you're born female or not, if you identify as a woman or as a she, is that a comfortable thing for you? You know, is that something you feel really like good about? Because I really didn't, you know? Yeah, totally.
Okay. Yeah. So do you feel comfortable in your body, or do you feel comfortable as a woman? Another question is, do you find women to be bitches?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. I apologize.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine.
You know, are women catty bitches? How about when you get around women, do you find yourself comparing yourself to them? Or like getting triggered or getting jealous? So these are all signs that you like play into this idea of the sisterhood wound. You have it. So some of the things that you can do, I always say never suffer alone. Like, go talk to someone about it. And maybe it's not your best friend about something that you have, like something that's coming up for you around her right away.
Yeah.
Maybe it's someone that you trust that is your confidant. This is why women's circles exist. This is actually why I'm so passionate about women's circles. It's because it's such an easy way for women to really get, hey, there's something here. There's something powerful here. And we realize when we get in circle, the thing about circle is that we come into a confidential, safe space. And you're sharing your story. A lot of times there's a theme, or depending on how, like a theme or a question that you answer. And it's just so amazing to me. I always say, what if your story could change another woman's life? Because that's what happens. You start to see yourself. You see that you're not alone. All the things that you're going through. You really, like this woman sitting across from you, you know, she's telling her story and your mouth is dropped wide open because, oh my gosh, she gets exactly what I'm going through. That's my story too. And I believe that this wounding, this comparison, this competition, this judgment, it keeps us from actually knowing that. Like we don't see it. If we get it as kids, we carry it into adulthood, and then we never really connect with other women or trust them. And then we don't feel like we're heard. Like no one gets us. So yeah, the power of circle. I mean, find a circle, find a woman you can talk to about these things. Journaling is always good. Somatic work is always good. Meditating. I mean, anything you can do to tune into yourself. Because really, when you're projecting on everything out over here, you could just like basically point your finger back at yourself because that's where you need the work.
Yeah. And I really feel too that the rise of the feminine has kind of gone in these stages, you know, where feminine needed to rise in the masculine because that was present like, 20, 30 years ago. We needed to rise and be more masculine. And that was great because look at how much it brought us as women in society. And now it's like that next step of like that in itself, kept us kind of separated. It started that separation wound, and now we're coming together, and it is about like collaborating and coming back into circle. I've seen women open up for the first time in, years in a circle with women that she doesn't even know, but just because it is that safe space, and there's something powerful to be held by your sisters, even if you know them or not, So yeah, I really feel like this circle work is really, really powerful work. And, as we're sitting here, I keep getting reminded of the times in my life where there's been multiple times where I've lost my best friend, and not because anything happened. It just, for whatever reason, I still don't even actually know why we fully fell apart. And it was worse than any breakup I've ever been in with a guy, like for me emotionally. And that I think really speaks to the connection that women can have with each other. It's just special. It's different, and I really think this sisterhood wounding is really keeping us from having that kind of connection with more than just a few women, I
hope. Yeah.
So, okay, well, we've talked a little bit about the Worldwide Women's Circle. Why don't we talk a little bit more about it? Because I feel like it's such a valuable tool that women can tap into. so I'm going to I could talk about it forever because I love it, but because you're the one who was birthing this into the world and has birthed it, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about it, and then we can go from there. Mm-hmm.
What do you want to know about?
Well, a little bit more, just like a little bit of the logistics. Like you kind of mentioned that before, but just a little bit more expanded on the logistics. And, I'll just let you say some stuff and then I'll add in what I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the Worldwide Women's Circle, just a little history.
Mm-hmm.
It was started in January of 2015. I won't even tell the story of how I got up to that point, but it was this deep call that I felt like, oh my gosh, what if we did this? And I put out a YouTube video, and I called a couple of my friends, like, do you think this could work? And Kelsey was one of them, and she's like, yeah, that sounds so cool. I'm in. I'm like, okay, great. All right. This was bigger than anything I'd ever done in my whole entire life. And I made this 1.5-minute YouTube video, and, it wasn't perfect. It's totally not perfect. And I put it out and I tagged a bunch of my friends, and then I just turned it off. I'm like, oh, I can't, I was so right up against my own failure, all of this stuff that was stopping me. And next time I turned on my video, the project had gotten picked up and shared. Well, first of all, it was watched 500 times. It had been shared probably 25 times by that point. And I had women signing up in the United States, in Canada, in Africa. In 8 hours, it was already international. So I realized, holy moly, there's something here.
Mm-hmm.
The women were just like, yes, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been looking for. I can't wait to do this. So the first circle was on March 8th of 2015, International Women's Day. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. And we had, I think, 15 circles, and we were in the US, Canada, Africa. I think those were the 3. So we had 15 circles in 3 continents. And then as we've been growing, we've now reached Australia. We have India, so that's kind of Asia. Africa, multiple places in Africa, multiple countries in Africa, Europe, Mexico, Brazil, South America, pretty much every single continent except for Antarctica, and that is going to happen at some point. And we have had 80 women lead circles, and we have had around 850 women in circle.
Amazing.
And there's 3 aspects to it. So number one, anyone can lead a circle as long as you're women or women identified.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all inclusive. And you need 3 women to lead a circle. So that could be like you, your mom, and your sister, and you go out and you do, you have a talking circle. So that's one of the main aspects that we bring in. But so there's some women that have never led circle. They don't even know what a circle is. This is the first time they've ever heard of it. And those women, they usually just come and they sit in a circle. They sit in a women's circle for the first time. Now, then there's women who have sat in a women's circle. They love women's circle, but they've never led a women's circle. They feel like, I need a certificate, or there's so much emphasis on education and certifications these days. Mm-hmm. And I even have my own certification class too. Yeah. So I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying that those women just really need a place to some permission. Mm-hmm. And so if you've never led a circle, but you really want to, and you've been to a women's circle before, you can lead a women's circle. And a lot of the women who come in like that end up becoming circle leaders. Mm-hmm. Then the third level, these are the women who have already been leading circles. These are the women who have been, these are the Elisa Starkweathers of the world. These are the, the sistership circles of the world. These are the red tents of the world. Mm-hmm. And this part is actually what I'm really passionate about, it's so easy to get caught up and compare like brands. Oh, my brand is better than yours. It's a women's circle. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
we're just gathering. It may have a different emphasis.
Yeah.
But really it's just the difference between it is a logo and, itinerary or whatever. But it's really the same thing. And I want to bring all those women together. Mm-hmm. Like, there's power in unity. Mm-hmm. And I think that if we can get it, like we can be an example of that. Look, it's not about like, even our brands can't keep us separate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's the umbrella, like the Worldwide Women's Circle is a platform. It's an umbrella. It really exists to just bring women together, no matter what circle lineage you're from, or if you've never led a circle, or this is the first time you've ever heard of circle. Mm-hmm. It's for all women. And yeah, what else, Kelsey?
So it happens 4 times a year.
Right. 4 times a year.
4 times a year. And to come to a circle is always free for women. Mm-hmm. If you want to come be a participant in the circle, it's always free. And it happens on the same day. So we're not synchronized by the hour or minute, but we're synchronized on the same day. So it's 4 times a year on the same day. We all sit in circle. And I know for me, I think that in itself is so powerful, that there's women all around the world sitting in circle with you. And that's an energy or a matrix that you're tapping into. That's the sisterhood that you're tapping into when you sit with the Worldwide Women's Circle. It's just a great, like, I live in a community where everyone's really busy and the women are really not all that connected because we are trying to make it work in an economy that doesn't really allow for people there's not a lot of infrastructure out here. And so we don't gather that often. And there wasn't this I come from Vancouver Island where there was women's circles all the time. And I was always a part of a community where we would sit as just friends and sisters, So that's been my goal here. And it's been really helpful. We've had some, a lot deeper connections around it. So there's so much healing that happens in so many different ways, ways that we didn't even think could happen by gathering in circle and just putting it out there. I also tend to travel a lot. So on those dates, if I'm in another country or another place, I just put it out there to have a women's circle. And last time I got 15 women showing up in Mexico, and I only knew one of them, so it's just, there's so much to this. And there's something I also feel that is because women have been gathering like this for centuries. It's like, it speaks to that, and women, a lot of the time women are like, yeah, I want to come sit in circle. And even if they've never been in circle, there's something there that just kind of, you get that it's a really important and powerful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just talking to a sister last night, and her friend came to one of the women's circles that I held last year. Mm-hmm. And it was a water blessing ceremony that we did. And she wants to lead circle. She's a mom. She has 2 kids, so it makes it a little difficult as far as making sure all of that. I think, making sure that works, but I think she's just so inspired to do it. And when she left the circle, oh my gosh, I can't believe that exists. Like, how has this been happening under my nose for 30 years? And I've never known about it. Mm-hmm. And I want to do more about this. And I think my mother would love this. And I think my sister would love this. And she's totally she's ready. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is how it's really easy to bring sisterhood together, mm-hmm. And I think that, taking a look at these wounds, being aware that this is what's underneath. This is what we got to work on, ladies. Mm-hmm. this is why things like the Worldwide Women's Circle exists. You know, there's a lot of misuse of power out there right now. There's a lot of drama out there right now. There's a lot of reasons to be scared. And there's power in what we do. There's power in community. There's power in connection. And you don't have to feel so alone. It's an hour and a half to 2 hours out of your day, your week, your month. That's just for you. It's just for us.
And it fills us up for the rest of the day, week, month.
Exactly.
I feel so full after, you know, it's really, yeah, really beautiful. And I'm just going to do a little plug for you right now.
Okay.
Leah Rose has been completely funding this whole project on her own for the last 2 years. And she has put hours and hours and hours and many dollars into this. And you can go to the Worldwide Women's, is it a GoFundMe? Do you have a GoFundMe?
We have a GoFundMe. We have a GoFundMe.
Yeah. So we'll put that up on the website so that you can go to that link, and you know, anything will help. $2, $5, and if you're feeling like extra happy and want to really support this movement, just anything will help. And it's a cause, definitely, and not a cause, I'd say more of a movement that is definitely worth donating to. And I can say that from my own experience because I've been with it since day one. And you know, Leah Rose has a huge vision of bringing, you know, there's lots of other people doing women's circles out there under their own brand and all that. And I think the vision of bringing us all together is really, really powerful. You know, it definitely speaks to your commitment and devotion of like healing that sisterhood wound of like, let's not keep our brands us even apart.
Yeah.
You know, we can all sit in circle together no matter what. And we're going to put all of the information about how you can get involved with the Worldwide Women's Circle if you feel inspired by this chat we've been having. We'll have that all up for you on our website as well. And I know that if you're curious about leading a circle or want to get involved with the Worldwide Women's Circle, or you're trying to find a circle to sit in, some of that information will be on the website, and also you can contact Leah Rose directly, especially if you're interested in leading a circle. She gives so much of herself to support women who want to step up and lead the circle. And the training that she has for the Worldwide Women's Circle, so that if you feel like you need more training or support in how to be a leader and hold Women's Circle, is really great. The last, nothing but great reviews. And I've known you for, you know, over 10 years, and I'm still learning from her in these ways, because it's definitely your calling, and I feel really grateful to be receiving downloads from you all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you want to share or leave us with, or anything that you feel?
Well, my gratitude. I want to say thank you for the invitation. And I just want to let all of your listeners know that they are needed, and they're needed here, and they're needed now. And thank you for doing the work that it takes to fully be yourself and fully rise to the occasion. I know the women that Kelsey's leading are, you know, women who are working through things and rising above trauma, and don't stop. Don't stop. I believe in you.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. And we look forward to having you back. We're going to definitely have Leah Rose back again for more interviews, because she has a lot to share and a lot of good wisdom for us. So we will be speaking with you soon, and
Yay.
I love you.
I love you too.
And let's do this.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.